Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we are back with one of our blogging clients, and I'm so excited to talk with her today and kind of just go through the whole blogging experience again. But to start off, do you want to let everyone know who you are, what you do? You're in a very interesting field that some people might not even know exists. So I'm excited to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hello. Excuse me. I'm so excited to be here. My name's Adrienne. I'm the owner of Wags Down the Aisle. We do wedding day pet care and coordination and have been in business since October of 2022.
Amazing. When you first reached out and we kind of found you, we were like, "Oh my God, this is such a cool like industry that didn't even really realize
Yeah,
existed and was like a full thing." And I before we get into
so
blogging,
niche.
I'm kind of interested like why pet wedding attendant? Like how did you actually come upon that?
Well, it honestly fell into my lap and I'm so grateful for it. I was working with a friend who owns a similar business based in Portland, and she essentially got to a point where she was managing 4 states. And she said, you know what? I think if you wanted to do your own thing in Washington, I would love that for you. So she helped me start my business and has been kind of mentoring me through this entire process, which is absolutely incredible. I couldn't have asked for a better way to get into this. So shout out to Stephanie at Wags and Garland, because she's really how I got started in here. But it's so niche and it's so needed. And we talk to people all the time who say, I didn't know this was a thing, or I wish I
Hmm.
had you when I got married, because it is a newer service. And
Hmm.
it's just so nice to be able to take the stress off of people who want their dogs at their wedding and just say, you enjoy your day. I'll deal with all of the logistics, and I'll hold the stinky treats and do all the things that you don't want someone else having to do when everyone's there to celebrate you.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't want their dog there with them on their wedding day? Like they're part of the family.
Exactly. They are. They absolutely are.
Well, switching gears into blogging, we blogged for you for I think around 6 months
Mm-hmm.
or so. And when you're thinking about the whole blogging game, did you have any challenges or things that you were running into before you reached out to us and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna outsource this. Let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the tale as old as time. I I knew I needed to blog. I knew that it would be really beneficial for the business, but it was one of those things that I said, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month.
Hmm.
And I just could not bring myself to actually sit down and write a blog post. And I even had, like, I did one blog post by myself, and it wasn't even by myself because, in all honesty, I had ChatGPT write it for me. So, like, it was not happening. And I had followed you and KP for a while, and I saw the work that you were doing mostly with design, but then you started sharing more
Hmm.
about blogging. And I've just like loved your brand. I've loved your vibe. And it was like, I think I'm at a point where I know it's important enough that I need to do it. And I want somebody who I know can like get a good blog
Hmm.
written for me to do this. And you did not disappoint.
I think that's absolutely the shoes that I feel like everybody is in. They're like, I know it's
Mm-hmm.
important. I just
Mm-hmm.
have so many important things to do in my business that I just
Yeah.
don't have time in
Just
it.
can't. Yep.
And you know what? If you're not like a natural writer too, which most of us aren't, it can be
I'm
really difficult to
not.
like sit
Yeah.
down and be like, I'm gonna write a blog post. And you're like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what to write right now. So
Yeah. I didn't know what to write. I didn't know how to write it. I didn't know what I
mhm,
wanted like my tone to be. And I also, and this is something that I wanted to compliment you guys on, is to me, most of the blogs I have seen, especially in the wedding industry, are recaps
mhm,
of weddings or engagement shoots, elopements, etc. And I didn't necessarily want to have a blog full of solely recapped
mhm,
events. And it was like, how can I also use the blog to show what we do a little bit more than just showing pictures and, explaining we drove the dog here and then we helped them pose for pictures. I wanted something a little bit more like elevated, and you were able to really get into the nitty gritty with like the keywords of what people would want to see
mhm.
from me in terms of blogging. And that was iconic. Like, seriously, I never would have thought about any of these blog topics. And I get feedback from people that they like the blogs, they've been helpful, or that's how they found me. And it's like, okay, this was perfect.
So since they've published, you've seen people kind
Mm-hmm.
of comment on them or come to you
Mm-hmm.
from them. How does that, like, obviously they've been working for you, but like how does that
Mm-hmm.
make you feel as you get that in? Like, are you like, I love this. This is
Mm-hmm.
great. Like, we wrote those posts, a little bit ago, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still, working for you. They're still,
Yeah.
bringing people in. So how is that kind of transformation for you?
Well, I think mostly it shows the importance of it.
Hmm.
And it's validating that it was like, it's a great investment and it's a good thing to continue to do.
Hmm.
So I think that's like, from like an ROI perspective, it's like, okay, great, perfect. We're definitely there. But I just love when people say, oh, I never would have thought of this before, or this is such
Hmm.
a unique idea. Because again, it's like, how can we get people more familiar with what we do and get essentially more people on board with like dog inclusive weddings?
Yeah.
And the blog is a great way to do that because it showcases ways to have dog inclusive weddings, and it highlights a lot of the venues that are dog friendly in
Hmm.
Washington and in my area. And that's like a very easy resource for people to go to if they get engaged and they're like me and they're like, okay, I'm engaged. So how do I make it happen with my dog? And the first thing
Hmm.
you need is a venue that's dog friendly. So it's like, it just checks all the boxes, you know?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's especially in your niche where it is kind of newer and maybe people
Mm-hmm.
don't know that much information about it, like being that resource and being the person who's like, hey, here's everything you can do. Here's these unique
Yeah.
ideas you can do and include them. Here's the venues that you can go to, and venues that are actually good and pet friendly, not ones that are just like,
Yes.
we're pet friendly. And then it's like,
Yeah.
you can stay in this one single area of the venue
Yep.
and nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having that, being that resource and being that expert for people to come to and say, how do I actually do this is
Yeah.
really great. And I think it shows that regardless of what niche you're in any industry, like there's people
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be looking for information. People are going to benefit from what you're saying. So like, don't be
Exactly.
afraid to
Mm-hmm.
step out and be like, here's the information that you're looking for.
Exactly. Like, they will find you if you do it. They
Hmm.
will find you, especially through blogs.
Absolutely. So, when you're thinking about the blogging process, was
Mm-hmm.
there anything that was surprising to you, or was there anything about blogging with us that you were like, that was my absolute favorite part?
Like I said, I loved that you found all the keywords
Hmm.
and we went from there. But I think more broadly, it just showed how well you were able to like dive into my very niched world and make it
Hmm.
work, which is probably what my biggest hesitation was it's the wedding industry, which is one thing, but then it's dogs at weddings, which is a whole nother thing. And you just like seamlessly were able to kind of integrate into that. And then I loved the tone that was used with the blogs because it felt
Hmm.
very like natural and engaging, which is something that I wanted, but I'm not a great writer. And so it was really nice to have kind of all of that just done and done really well. So going forward, I haven't done another blog post by myself, but but I'm like, okay, I think I have a really great starting point if I do want to keep doing it by myself,
Hmm.
to take what you have done and like move forward from that. And the most popular blog still is writing vows for dog lovers. That remains the most popular blog. And I didn't see that coming. I don't
Hmm.
know if you saw that coming either.
Nope,
Uh,
that definitely wasn't one that we would have
yeah,
put at the top.
no, it is a hit. It is such a hit. And uh, like, I can see that it's doing well, like on my
Hmm.
end of things, but I also have people say they found me through that blog or they used that to write their vows. And it's like, that's just so cool. Like, it's really come full circle.
No, absolutely. And I think it's one of the points that kind of shows the range of things that you
Hmm.
can write on, because you're looking at that and you're like, okay, vows for dog lovers doesn't necessarily feel like it
Yeah.
directly relates to pet wedding attendant, But
Right.
when you think about who is actually going to be searching that, obviously
Mhm.
it's people who are getting married, who
Yep.
value their dogs. And if you're like, oh, here's how you can write the vows, but also
Yep.
we can just have your dog as part of your wedding and we can
Mhm.
take care of everything. I think it kind of shows there's really
Yeah.
no limit to the amount of things that you can write on, regardless of what
Yes.
niche you're in and what industry you're
Yeah.
in. Like it goes on
Mhm.
forever.
Forever.
Okay, so looking back on all of the posts, how confident do you feel with all of these posts? And even like you mentioned, kind of picking up on your own, using
Mhm.
them as a blueprint for, setting up the post or what to kind of write
Yeah.
about, or even topics that you could tackle in your blog.
Yeah, I feel really confident with it because they're, one, continuing to do well, two, give me a great point to keep them updated
Hmm.
as I need to. So I'm thinking of adding on to the venue friendly blog post and just making it like, because there's always more venues and there's always
Yeah.
more dog friendly venues, so it's like I can just keep adding to that and building from it. But overall I feel so confident just having them there. And I actually, long story short, kind of switched my website from one to another, and I was able to just like move all of them over, and just, which was a pain, but having them was so great. It was so great. And even though I moved over, they're all still doing well, and can't complain about that.
We love to hear that, but
Yep.
no, I think it's definitely great. And updating posts is
Mm-hmm.
amazing, especially with some of these, listicle type posts or venues or anything, like because like you said, new venues pop up every
Yep.
day, different things come out. Venues might, change their policies or be updated or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. So taking that time to add things, you don't even need to necessarily write an entire new blog post every single week, but just going in and be
Right.
like, you know what? I went to a wedding at this venue last weekend and it was really great. And I want to make sure that it
Mm-hmm.
gets added here. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
that can be great and can help,
Yep.
bring that traffic in and educate people
Yeah.
and help them in more ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping to do blogs highlighting wedding planners and wedding photographers who are also dog inclusive and dog friendly, because that's a really important piece of it too.
Absolutely. Anything
Mm-hmm.
you can do to connect with
Mm-hmm.
kind of the other industries and cast the net. And first of all, just again, educate them, show other people that you can work with that are actually
Yeah.
good at what they do.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, tapping the different audiences, the different people in the
Mm-hmm.
different stages of planning a wedding. Like all of it
Yep.
works together towards that final goal.
Yes, it does.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and talking. It was great. We've absolutely loved writing for you and are so glad to hear about all of the things that your blogs have been doing. If anybody wants to kind of connect with you, maybe they're looking for a pet wedding attendant or they just want to keep
Mm-hmm.
up with all the great things that you're doing and read some of these blog posts, where can they find
Yes.
you?
Yes. Feel free to bark at me anytime. I am on Instagram at Wags Down the Aisle. I'm on Facebook, Wags Down the Aisle. And our website is wagsdowntheaisle.com. You can also email me, hello@wagsdowntheaisle.com. And my Instagram is filled with really cute dog pictures. So if that's your vibe, then that's a great starting point too.
I mean, whose day
And
isn't better with some little dog pictures?
exactly. I think even if you're not a client, my Instagram feed brings a lot of joy, I have to say. And I am based in Western Washington, but even if you're not local to here, I can refer out to, honestly, almost worldwide, with wedding day pet care companies that can take care of you too.
Amazing. Well, we will link all of those links down in the description. Definitely be sure to go check them out, even if it's just for the cute dog pics. But thank you again so much for coming on, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, Jessie.